Did you know that somewhere in America right now, a town is so desperate to fill its empty streets that it will hand you real money, deposited directly into your bank account, just for agreeing to unpack your bags and call home? Not a voucher, not a coupon, not some rebate buried under 17 forms. Actual cash. And here's what nobody's talking about. Some of these offers are still open right now in 2026, and the deadlines are already counting down. Get ready, because today on Life in the State, you're going to discover 7 real towns across America that are literally paying people to move there in 2026. Some will hand you cold cash. One will pay off your student loans. And one has been writing the same check every single fall since 1982, and it has no plans to stop. Before we get into this list, if you're watching this and you're not yet subscribed to Life in the State, this is the moment. This channel covers the stuff about America that most people walk right past. Hit subscribe right now, turn on the bell, and drop a comment telling me which state you currently live in. I want to know where you're starting from before we figure out where you could go. Here's the thing most people don't realize. Small American towns are in a quiet crisis. Schools with half-empty classrooms. Hardware stores with no customers. Tax bases that can't cover basic services. And the math these towns did is actually wild when you look at it clearly. One remote worker. One young family. One person paying property taxes, shopping locally, enrolling kids in a school. That one person is worth more to a struggling town than the check they're handing out to attract them. The economics work in their favor. The only question is whether they work in yours. We compiled this list using verified, publicly documented relocation programs. Real applications, real payment amounts, real requirements, and the real catches that nobody puts in the headline. Because every single program on this list has a catch. Some of those catches are minor. A few will make you think twice. And at least one program has a funding window that may already be closing. Let's get into it. Number 3, Morgantown, West Virginia, up to $12,000 cash. Most people don't realize that West Virginia has been running one of the most underreported relocation deals in the country. Morgantown, a university city of about 30,000 people, sits at the center of a partnership between the city government, West Virginia University, and regional economic development groups. Together, they put together a package that goes far beyond the number in the headline. The base cash offer has landed between $10,000 and $12,000, depending on the program cycle. But the full package adds free co-working space access for 12 months, curated introductions to local employers and entrepreneurs, and a community integration process that participants consistently say was worth more than the check itself. Here's what the numbers actually look like on the ground. A 3-bedroom house in Morgantown runs somewhere between $180,000 and $250,000. Add $12,000 in relocation cash to that picture, and you're looking at a real down payment subsidy on a home in a functioning university city. That is not a trivial number. The requirements are clear. You must be a full-time remote worker employed outside West Virginia. You must commit to a minimum of 1 year in the Morgantown area. And here's the part the program website doesn't headline. They track engagement. People who take the check and disappear from community events get noticed. This is not a cash and vanish arrangement. West Virginia winters. Real, gray, sustained winters that make January feel like a personal conversation. If you're from the South or the Southwest, factor that in. But listen to this testimony that surfaced on Reddit's remote work community in 2024. A participant used the $12,000 as part of down payment. Their mortgage landed at $890 a month. Meanwhile, their co-workers back in D.C. were paying $2,400 for a single bedroom. 2 years later, they said they'd stop trying to explain the math to anyone. Number 6, Shoals, Indiana, free land plus $5,000 cash. This one is strange. Not strange bad. Strange in the way that makes you wonder why nobody's talking about it. Shoals is a small town in Martin County, Indiana, with a population of around 800 people. And what Martin County has been offering is a category of incentive that is genuinely hard to find anywhere in the country at any price. Free residential lots. Not discounted. Free. These are developed subdivision lots with utilities already in place. Water, electricity, the infrastructure is there. Stack that against $5,000 in cash toward construction or moving costs, plus Martin County property taxes that average under $600 annually on a new build, and the total picture becomes absurd in the best possible way. The total cost to enter home ownership in Shoals, land plus the cash incentive plus construction of a modest home, can fall under $130,000 for a completed property that would list around $280,000 in Indianapolis. That gap is not a rounding error. That is a fundamentally different financial life. Here's what nobody talks about when they mention Indiana. Martin County sits on the eastern edge of the Hoosier National Forest. 200,000 acres of public land, limestone canyon trails, clear creeks, backpacking routes that look nothing like what people imagine Indiana looks like. Shoals is giving away land next to a national forest, and somehow this information has not become as famous as it deserves to be. The nearest city with major services is Bloomington, about 45 minutes north. The job market in the county itself is limited. This program specifically targets remote workers and retirees. If you need urban energy on a Tuesday afternoon, Shoals is the wrong answer. If you need a house, low costs, and 200,000 acres of public land access, it might be exactly right. Number 1, Newton, Iowa, up to $10,000 cash. Newton's story is the most instructive one on this entire list, and here's why. In 2007, Maytag, which had manufactured appliances in Newton for over a century, closed its plant and moved operations offshore. Overnight, the city lost 1,800 jobs. The downtown hollowed out. The population dropped. And then Newton did something unusual. Instead of waiting for the economy to fix itself, the city decided to compete aggressively for new residents. The Newton Development Corporation put together a relocation incentive offering $10,000 cash to remote workers willing to move and commit to 2 years. The payment structure typically runs half upfront and half at the 1-year mark, which is their way of making sure the commitment is real, not just a check collection operation. What did Newton become after Maytag? Here's the wild part. The city pivoted to renewable energy. TPI Composites, a wind turbine blade manufacturer, became a major employer. The Iowa Speedway brought NASCAR racing to the city. The downtown was rebuilt with genuine investment. Median home price today sits around $135,000, and the cost of living runs roughly 18% below the national average. A 2023 Des Moines Register feature followed a Newton resident who moved from Denver. The house they bought for $142,000 would have cost $480,000 in the Denver neighborhood they left. The wind turbine plant employs half the neighborhood. The NASCAR track is 15 minutes away. Their closing line, Iowa surprised them completely, and they said that as someone who had spent 3 years making Iowa jokes, Newton isn't paying you as charity. It's paying you as evidence, proof that the reinvention is working. Every person who takes the $10,000 and stays becomes part of the city's argument to the next person considering it. You're not just a resident. You are a signal. Number 4, Topeka, Kansas, up to $15,000, cash plus student loan repayment. Topeka runs the most financially sophisticated relocation program on this list, and it's the only one that specifically targets student loan debt as part of the package. The Choose Topeka initiative offers up to $15,000 in relocation assistance, split between direct cash and student loan repayment support. Here's how the structure breaks down. Remote workers qualify for up to $10,000 in direct incentives. People who accept local Topeka employment qualify for the full $15,000. The funds are distributed over 2 years, contingent on maintained residency. Now here's where it gets genuinely interesting. Kansas also runs its own Rural Opportunity Zones program, a separate student loan repayment initiative that stacks on top of the Topeka incentive for qualifying workers in certain professions. A nurse or teacher moving to Topeka could theoretically combine multiple programs into a total package that exceeds $20,000 in assistance. That is not a typo. Topeka itself is the state capital of Kansas, population around 125,000, with a median home price of approximately $135,000, one of the lowest among state capitals in the entire country. The Brown versus Board of Education National Historic Site is here. Forbes Field Military Base provides economic stability to the region. It is a functional, genuinely affordable mid-sized city that remains almost invisible in national conversations about desirable places to live, which is precisely the reason it can still afford to offer $15,000 to attract residents. A 2024 Choose Topeka participant shared their numbers publicly. Topeka paid down $8,000 of their student loans and handed them $7,000 in cash. They used the cash toward a down payment on a $148,000 house. Monthly costs, mortgage, taxes, insurance, landed at $960. Their previous apartment in Seattle was a studio at $1,900 a month. 3 bedrooms now, a yard, $960. We are halfway through this list, and the programs are only getting bigger from here. If you have not subscribed yet, you are genuinely missing the channel that covers the hidden financial geography of America. Hit subscribe right now and drop a comment below. Which of these towns surprised you most so far? I read every single one. Number 3, Northwest Arkansas, Bentonville/Fayetteville Metro. $10,000 cash plus free bicycle. This one sounds like a marketing campaign. The bicycle especially. But stick with me, because the context changes everything. Northwest Arkansas, specifically the Bentonville, Rogers, Fayetteville, and Springdale metro area, runs the LifeWorks Here initiative, which offers $10,000 in cash plus a free bicycle to remote workers who relocate to the region. The bike is not a gimmick. Northwest Arkansas has built one of the most extensive trail systems in America. Over 400 miles of mountain bike trails, and the bicycle is a genuine welcome gift to a region that has made outdoor recreation central to its identity. Who is behind it? The Walton Family Foundation. Yes, that Walton family, the founders of Walmart, headquartered in Bentonville. The foundation has invested hundreds of millions of dollars in transforming Northwest Arkansas, building world-class art museums, funding the trail infrastructure, supporting the culinary scene, and running this relocation program. This is not a cash-strapped small town scraping together funds. This is a billionaire family deciding their hometown should compete with Austin and Denver for talent. The median home price in the region sits around $280,000, higher than other entries on this list, but dramatically lower than comparable quality-of-life cities. Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art is here, a $1.2 billion facility in a small Arkansas city that has no business having a museum this good. The Ozark Mountains are immediately accessible. Walmart vendor relationships brought international culinary talent to the region. The food scene is genuinely wild for a metro this size. Every other program on this list is running on a budget. LifeWorks Here is running on Walton money, which means it doesn't dry up the way municipal programs do. The $10,000 is consistent. The infrastructure backing it keeps getting built. A 2025 LifeWorks Here participant shared. They thought the bike was a marketing stunt. They have since ridden 2,300 miles of trail. The $10,000 helped with a down payment. The bicycle changed how they think about where they live. Their words, they did not expect Arkansas to do this to them, and they do not know how to explain it to anyone who has not been there. Number 2, Tulsa, Oklahoma, $10,000 cash plus fully managed transition. Tulsa Remote is the most famous relocation incentive program in the country, and it earned that status by doing almost everything differently from the start. Launched in 2018, the program offers $10,000 in cash to remote workers who relocate to Tulsa. But here's the thing, the cash is almost a secondary detail. What Tulsa Remote actually delivers is a fully managed transition into a new city built around cohort-based community building that has produced a participant retention rate that makes every comparable program look at its own numbers with embarrassment. The $10,000 is distributed over 12 months. But the program also provides dedicated landing space at 36 Degrees North, Tulsa's premier co-working facility, cohort orientation events, curated connections to local businesses and community organizations, and a dedicated program manager whose actual job is to make sure you have a good experience. There's also a community of hundreds of previous participants who have already made the transition and are available as an informal support network. The results are documented. Tulsa Remote has brought over 3,000 people to the city since 2018. Each participant generates an estimated $26,000 in annual economic impact, meaning Tulsa gets more than twice its investment back from every person who takes the $10,000 and stays. The retention rate after year one has consistently exceeded 60%. For a relocation incentive program, that number is extraordinary. Tulsa itself has experienced a genuine national rediscovery. The Arts District, the Gathering Place Park, a $465 million public park that ranks among the best in the country. An Art Deco downtown that is one of the most intact in America. A food scene that keeps showing up on national lists. Median home prices around $190,000. A 2024 Tulsa Remote alumnus put it this way. The $10,000 introduced them to 40 people in their first month. 3 became close friends. 1 became their business partner. They built a company in Tulsa. The money is gone. Everything it led to is still there. Their quote, "The number on the check was the least interesting part of the whole experience." Number 1, Alaska, statewide, annual permanent fund dividend, every single year. Every other program on this list is a one-time payment or multi-year grant that eventually ends. Alaska's permanent fund dividend does not end. It has been paying every qualifying Alaska resident an annual check since 1982, and it is constitutionally protected as a distribution of the state's oil wealth to its citizens. Here's how it works. The Alaska Permanent Fund is a sovereign wealth fund built from oil and gas royalties. Every year, the legislature determines the dividend amount based on fund performance. Since 1982, the total cumulative payout has exceeded $25,000 per person. In recent years, the annual dividend has ranged from $1,312 to $3,284. A family of 4 has received between $5,248 and $13,136 in a single calendar year for living in Alaska. Now stack the full financial picture. Alaska has no state income tax, no state sales tax, the annual permanent fund dividend on top of that, no property tax in unincorporated areas, and relatively low property taxes even in organized boroughs. The calculated total annual tax advantage for an Alaska resident compared to a California resident at the same income level has landed between $10,000 and $20,000 per year, plus the dividend. The state is not just leaving money in your pocket. It is actively depositing money into your pocket every fall. Alaska's cost of living runs approximately 25 to 40% above the national average, depending on location. Groceries cost more. Heating costs more. Everything shipped in, which is most things, costs more. Healthcare requires travel for anything beyond basic care in most communities. And interior Alaska winters are a genuine psychological and physical challenge that no financial spreadsheet fully captures. The dividend check arrives in October. The January darkness also arrives. Both are real. Alaska gets the number 1 spot, not because it offers the most cash up front. The $1,312 annual dividend is actually less than several entries on this list in year 1. It gets the top position because it never stops. Tulsa remote ends after 1 year. The Vermont reimbursement is one time. Kansas student loan assistance ends when the loan is paid. Alaska writes you a check every single fall for as long as you live there. Over a 10-year period, a family of 4 has received more than $50,000 in cumulative dividend payments for nothing more than staying. The government has been paying people to be in Alaska since 1982. It has constitutional protection for continuing to do so. A South Central Alaska resident featured in Alaska Magazine in 2024 shared their numbers. 9 years, 9 checks. Their cumulative total exceeded $14,000. Their family of 4 received just under $56,000 across the same period. That money paid for 2 years of college savings for their kids, a truck, and 3 summers of fish camp. Their closing line is the only time in their life that staying somewhere paid them rather than cost them. They intend to keep staying. The question is not whether the money is real. The question is whether you are the kind of person Alaska is looking for. Someone who sees the dividend check and the darkness and the cost of groceries and the northern lights and the moose in the yard and decides that the sum of all of it is a life worth living. 7 programs. 7 different versions of the same decision. A place looked at its situation, ran the numbers, and concluded that attracting the right person or keeping the right person was worth paying for. Some of these towns are bleeding population and need bodies on the ground. Some, like Savannah, are fighting to keep the essential workers their own success is priced out. One is backed by Walton family money and competing with Austin for talent. And one has been writing the same annual check since before most of us were born. The cash is real in every case. The requirements are real. The catches are real. And the underlying question, whether the place is somewhere you actually want to build a life, is the most real thing on this entire list. No relocation incentive makes the wrong fit place right. But if the fit is there, the check is not nothing. Here's what nobody talks about. Most people will watch this video, think about it for 3 days, and then go back to paying rent that is too high in a city that is squeezing them. The towns on this list are counting on that. They are banking on the fact that most people won't act. The ones who do act, those are the people these programs are designed for. Here is your comment prompt for this video, and I want you to actually use it. Which of these 7 programs would you seriously consider, and what is the one thing stopping you from applying right now? Drop it below. I read every comment, and I reply to more than people expect. And if you're still not subscribed to Life in the State, this is the last time I'm asking. This channel covers the financial geography of America that nobody else is mapping. Subscribe, hit the bell, and I will see you in the next one.